class. On to week 4. I'm just on Slack here, looking through your presentations. I'm going to be reading those, obviously, after I read last week's stuff. But it seems like you guys had a fun time with it. Easy for me to say as an outsider, but I'm excited to watch through the videos and look through the documents. So for all of you, I mean, the goal of this was to really obviously have you dig deep into a specific topic, and then to accumulate over 20 different documents and videos that you can then use to help you with a specific thing. So you say, oh, I noticed there's one on commas or one on semicolons or one on em dashes or whatever, hyphens, clarity, whatever, and then you can kind of go to this. So if you could download all those documents, maybe create a folder, say writing help in your desktop or something like that, kind of leverage the labor done by your peers, because just from the initial skim, it is really useful and really good work. So that's kind of the goal, is to have you go through that, and then to have now a repository of documents that can help you guide you in business writing after this class is complete. So that's the goal. Onward, week 4. So first half of class is done. Like I said in the opening video, the first half of the class is really aimed at introducing a new rhetorical framework for you. So that was through quarters piece, and then through doing your own presentations, and through doing rhetorical analyses from your document ecology, and kind of all these things, and really kind of establishing this framework. So now that we have this conceptual framework, now we get to the actual on-the-ground business writing part of it. And like with any class, the way a professor divides up time and weights things is indicative of their values. So the fact that I spent half of it on rhetorical analysis and through writing issues kind of just generally, and then the second half is kind of concrete genres of business writing, kind of speaks to my values as a professor. And you should continue to look at syllabi that way, as manifestations of the values of your respective professor. So week 4, you are choosing 2 genres. So as the syllabus states, there's a variety of different ways that you can categorize the landscape of business writing. People do it in many different ways. There's external, there's internal, there's, it kind of based on medium, informal, formal. Bove and Thiel, the textbook, focuses a lot on informal and different things. So one of them, the types of business communications that I find useful are upward, downward, lateral, and external. So these kind of 4 things. So obviously with anything in writing, there's going to be gaps, overlaps, in-betweens. You think, hey, in my business we do something different, and it's maybe diagonal or a different thing. And yes, of course, right? That any attempt at typologizing or categorizing is reductive, almost by definition. But it is a good place to start to understand, why would we make this decision when we're speaking to external clients, and this decision when I am writing to a colleague down the hallway from me, and then this way when I'm speaking to the project manager, or all the way up to the CEO, or whatever it is. So that's really what this asks you to do, is to choose from 2 of those 4 scenarios to cultivate what's called rhetorical dexterity, which is essentially, okay, there's these kind of writing conventions, but then you're, okay, great, I'm good to go. I know all these things. I know how to use comma, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to your business writing genres, which you have written for years, if not decades, and you think, oh, wait, this is different in this situation, not only based upon organizations, because each organization has their own kind of writing cultures, right, or ecosystems, to use that kind of ecological metaphor that you guys like so much. So each organization has their own way of writing, almost. Even in industry, you kind of go up and up, and that's another way of looking at writing. But to me, it's all about audience. So it's all about the differences that I see in a lot of the business writing, or in consulting I'm doing, or in a lot of the documents I see that MBA students create, is it really depends on kind of your directionality, right? You're going to speak informal and formal doesn't really cover it, so you're going to speak very differently to your superior than you are to a colleague, than you are if you're writing a press release, a negative newsletter towards the public, or downward, which is if you're communicating policy, for example, to 200 employees, right? And you think, well, why is it different this way, right? Why do I write differently? And I think we all understand, like, well, sure, you have to have a certain level of respect or professionalism when you're writing to your boss or your CEO than you do, any workers that, if you're a project manager or in middle management or whatever, that are working quote unquote underneath you in the organizational hierarchy, even though it's probably metaphor. But anyway, just for the sake of directionality metaphors. So I guess that would be one of the downsides of them. So they're going to vary based upon the direction you're going, and it's really based upon your audience. So to get you to understand that sometimes emojis can be good, sometimes commas can be overused. People usually use commas when they're struggling and when they're kind of tight and they're speaking to someone formally, and they kind of overthink it and they try to make these complex sentences and they got to sound really smart because they got to impress it. And then when they're talking to a coworker, their writing just kind of flows like a river, right? And you're like, well, why is that? So getting to understand that the different directions you're writing, three-dimensionally, and it is really founded upon the audience, which is kind of what rhetoric is all about, is your decision to use a specific writing technique, or the answer about is this right or is this effective, is largely dependent upon who your audience is. So sending emojis or something to a colleague, for example, totally okay. Sending, depending on your workplace, I guess. Sending it is at ODU. Sending one upward to your CEO, not so much. So you got to think, well, why is that? So there is no universal rule about emojis, about commas, about these hyphens. It's really just really dependent upon, there's conventions that you have when you're speaking upward, conventions you have when you're speaking laterally, downward, etc., especially with external. So choose two that you think are interesting based upon the case studies that I have outlined. They're very loose case studies. I don't want to get too detailed in it because they are just short pieces. And then you have to write out 500 words planning out these documents, because full disclosure, you will have to write these documents. So and this is the planning phase, then we have the writing phase, then we have the completing phase. So it's kind of 3 phases of writing, and the goal is to habituate you through this process and to kind of go through, this 3-phase model that Bove and Thill lay out. Does this work for you? Is this effective? Can you learn something from it? Obviously, sometimes you only have 14 minutes to write something and you can't go through all 3 things. But for the larger, more significant career-altering documents, or even to kind of smaller ones, if they become habits, it becomes second nature. And this is kind of what all we can do in 6 weeks, really. So you got to mention, the general purpose of your message, specific purpose. So the general purpose is to inform. Your specific purpose is to inform this specific member of your company about this specific things, right? So the general, specific, and then you kind of go through. So it doesn't really matter to me how you format the planning document. You could use a lot of lists, a lot of bullets. It's really just kind of a planning space for you to think about how you're going to approach it, almost like a game plan or a blueprint or whatever metaphor you want to use. And you got to do one for each of the 2 that you choose. So it doesn't matter to me which of the 4 you choose. Obviously, I wanted to give you some choice in depending upon your own specific positionality or your own workplace. Let's say you rarely speak to the public or your external stakeholders, and you think, I would like to have practice in that, and kind of go through the motions about what it would be like to write a press release or to write something like that. Or let's say you think, okay, I just started an organization. I'd like to practice writing a policy document that communicates downwards throughout the organization to kind of hone those skills, which are very important. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Keep in mind that you will have to write those documents. So you're not officially wedded to those 2 things. Let's say you plan out the upward thing and you submit it, you're still going to get grades for it. And then in week 5, you say, actually, I want to do the downward thing. You could totally switch, but ideally you would choose the same 2 throughout. So that's kind of the gist. So I'm going to get to grading the last 2 weeks. I think I'm 2 weeks behind now. And I'm really looking forward to looking through your videos and your handouts, which again, from surface seem really intuitive. So, and not intuitive, informative is the word I should say. So yeah, have a good week. And let me know if you have any questions. Post it in Slack, in office hours, or kind of in the week 4 channel if you have any questions about this.